Well, thank you, Chuck. N6AF and the Vintage Sideband Roundtable, W7MS, and good evening to Dave, WJ6W. Thank you for the acknowledgement. It's always nice to be acknowledged. I also heard W6WUH, Larry, out there on a double, so you may want to call him out or at least take note of that. But good signals tonight, and a rainy day in Reno. Had over an inch of rain, an inch and then 1900ths on the end of that. So let's make it an inch and 2/10. So a nice day, and as Chuck had mentioned, relatively warm. It was warm enough between the rain and somewhere in the 40s or 50s today to take care of all that snow. All that snow went away and turned to liquid H2O. So with that, Dave, back to you, WJ6W, W7MS.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. Very good. Well, I don't know if you missed the snow or not up there, but at least you're getting precipitation. That's good. Okay. And I noted that Larry, W6WUH, is out there. So I've got you down, Larry, after AK6R Bob. So we got you down. Anybody else who wants to get on the list?
Good, buddy. 6Q, November, India, 6 Quebec, Flagstaff.
Okay, Brian, very good. Good evening to you. Nice signal. Got you down. Anybody else? Okay, nobody so far, but we'll go down the list and let everyone comment a little bit. We'll send it over to Paul next, N6BZY. N6BZY, turn it over to W6TOM, and that's Tom. Tom, turn it over to K2RP, Ron, and then Ron, turn it to Glenn, WB6RLC, and then back to me. N6BZY, go ahead, WJ6W. Paul, N6BZY, you there?
I'm not going to run the water tonight.
Well, nothing heard. It goes over to you, Tom, W6TOM. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is W6TOM. Good evening, everybody. We've had a pretty good amount of rain up here. Nice, steady, off and on rain for the last day or so. And I'll hand it to Ron, K2RP, W6TOM.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Thanks for taking the earlies over there. Ron Encinitas on the helicopter Cyclone. I was working all day today trying to put my HT-32 and SX-101 back in an operating position. I haven't used them for a long time. I got it going on CW, but I'm not getting any audio yet. I got to work on that tomorrow. Okay, over out to the desert, WB6RLC, K2RP.
Very good, Ron. K2RP, WB6RLC. Glenn here out in the desert, Cathedral City, next spring over from Palm Springs. Yeah, I'm on the Swan 500 tonight, and, well, so far the weather's holding out. So we are promised some rain this evening, so we'll see. Lots of dark clouds and things like that, but I stepped out a little earlier and still no rain. So, but hope springs eternal. Anyway, that's about it. We'll keep it rolling. We got a big group. Back to net, WB6RLC.
Okay, Glenn, thanks. Good signal from you, too. Doing fine here in Tarzana. Well, let me make another call for anybody who wants to get on the Vintage Sideband Roundtable list. Come now.
K6LK.
Okay, K6LK. Very good. We have you down. Anybody else?
Oh, mercy.
Okay, let's see if Mike is around. K6ZSR. Mike, are you copying? Are you around? Go ahead.
Right under it. 94.
Yeah, Dave. I'm here and ready to take the list when you're ready.
Okay, well, I think I've got most of the folks here probably going to check in, but maybe a few more before 7. So if you want me to give you the list, I'll go ahead if you're ready.
Well, we've got about, it's 6:50 now, approximately, so if you want to wait for 5 minutes, well, you know what, I think maybe you should give it to me now. Yeah, so by the time you get done doing the list, we'll be just a few minutes away, and then I can ask for additional check-ins, so, so I'm ready for the list. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, Mike, good. All right. Let's see. First one on the list I have is KK6IRZ. KK6IRZ, and that's Jeff.
Well, what we're going to do
next is W6DQ, Dennis, W6DQ. And then, of course, it's KF6QNG, Lisa, KF6QNG. And then K6ZTA, Vaughn, K6ZTA. After that, we have N6KN, Rocco, N6KN. Following Rocco is KE6HXF, that's KE6, Hotel X-Ray Fox, that's Rob.
Control up all one.
And how are we doing so far? Okay, very good. Following Rob, we have N6AF, Chuck, N6 Alpha Foxtrot, Chuck. And following Chuck, it's W7MS, W7MS Mike.
Bring your power level.
Following Mike, we have N6BZY, Paul, N6BZY. And after Paul, we have W6TOM, Tom, W6TOM. Following Tom, we have K2RP, Ron, K2RP. After Ron, WB6RLC, Glenn, WB6RLC. And then after Glenn, we have N6WHK, Phil, N6WHK. After Phil, it's N4DLA, Matthew, N4DLA. After that, let me see, are we still okay, Mike?
Yes, Dave, go ahead.
Okay, after Matthew, WA9JIB, Bob. WA9JIB. After Bob, K6RCL, DJ. He said he might be listening out. He was having some mic trouble, but he sounded pretty good in the last transmission, so DJ, maybe you can jump in there. K6RCL, DJ. After that, we have W6YEC, George. W6YEC. And after George, AK6R, Bob, AK6R. After Bob, W6WUH, Larry, W6WUH. And after Larry, we have NI6Q, Brian, NI6Q. And then after Brian, we have K6LK. K6LK, and the name escapes me at the moment, K6LK. That's the list as I have it, Mike, so if you have it all, we can, either you and I can call for more check-ins, and we'll take it from there. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, very, very good, Dave. Let's see, we got about 7 minutes. I haven't counted these, but I'll tell you, I think we're over 20. I think we got a big round table going here this evening, yeah, for sure. So, I tell you what, since we got 7 minutes, let me see, let me flip some pages here. Where am I? Okay, there we go. So, what we'll do is right now, let's stand by and see if anybody else would like to be put on the early list for the Vintage Sideband Round Table. So, this is Mike, K6ZSR, standing by.
Contact K6ZSR.
Someone calling me?
Yes, I am K6LK.
Yeah, LK said his name was
yeah,
Skip.
you're on the list, Pat.
I want you to drop me off the list. I just got the dinner call, so I wanted to say hello, Mike, and also to W7MS, Mike. Hello to both of you. Have a good New Year, and I'll catch you all later. Drop me off the list.
Oh, okay. Bill, we'll take you off there, and Happy New Year to you, and we'll talk to you later, Bill. Thank you. Now, are there any others that would like to be put on the list? Come now. Any additional check-ins that like to be put on the list, the early list for the Vintage Sideband Roundtable? Come now. Okay, nothing heard. And so rather than have some dead air, I'm going to go ahead and start the roundtable here. Let's see, Brian, you're the last one on the list. And Dave, I want to thank you for taking this early list. And I got in towards the end, and I saw that you were doing that very efficiently and very quickly. Very nice indeed. Let's see, before we start, I don't know if everybody's gotten the email today from our night commander here, John K6KOI, and John has requested no early list before 6:30. And let's see if we could adhere to that. It makes things a lot easier. And so at 6:30, the night that's involved with taking the early list will be the only one. So we encourage everybody to meet here informally, to have a round table before the early list. But let's leave the early list to those that are on the night schedule for hosting and taking that early list. So there you have it. Nothing more to be said. Now, welcome everybody to the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable. This is Mike, K6ZSR, in Santa Barbara, California, on the central coast of California here, where it's been raining all day since 11 in the morning. Not heavy, but more than just a light shower, and it's non-stop. We're getting a good soaking, folks. It just feels so good to look out there and see it. I'll tell you, it just feels good. But anyway, I'm the host for this evening's roundtable. Tonight, the station I'm using is a Cosmo Phone 35, and I'm using a ACOM 2000 linear. And I got it dialed back here for bandwidth reasons. I'm around, about 800 watts out the door here. And that's all going up to an inverted V in the palm tree here. So we meet every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock with an informal gathering at 6:30 Pacific time to record an early check-in list that'll be relayed to the host station for the roundtable this evening. The roundtable meets on or about 3,895 kilocycles, plus or minus. You might want to try 3892 kilocycles first. And depending on whether the frequency is occupied or QRM is present or any variations in our vintage VFOs. To check into this roundtable, you must be using a radio that was manufactured in or before 1980, or be homebrewed with equivalent technology. Now, transistor tube or hybrid radios are welcome as they are manufactured in 1980 or before. However, if you are a first-time check-in, you may use a modern radio for the purpose of inquiring about joining this group and obtaining a vintage radio. This group is a great resource for finding and repairing vintage equipment. We encourage vintage radio newcomers. The new check-ins will automatically be moved to the top of the list. We have a website at groups.io/G/vintage-SSB with many station photos and files regarding vintage sideband equipment. And in association with this group, we also have an email reflector. So if you'd like to access the website and the reflector email, send an email to me, Mike K6ZSR, and you could look me up in QRZ.com there. We also host a live video simulcast via Zoom, in which, there's only 3 of us tonight. Glenn, myself, and Dennis and Lisa. Well, excuse me, 4, but 3 stations. Dennis is there to correct me there, give me the okay side. So, but I was on a relative of ours for Christmas put us on a group in Italy, all of Angie's relatives, and we had over 12 on there. And I'll tell you, it was a ball. And so I really encourage you to get a hold of Dennis and find out how you get on. I'll tell you, it's really simple, and it's just a lot of fun. And we have a little chat bar there going there too, so we make comments. Okay. So anyway, if you want to know more about these Zoom sessions, like I said, it's pretty easy. Just send an email to Dennis, W6DQ, and you can get Dennis's email address in QRZ.com. Consider accessing the KFS Web SDR on your computer to hear more stations when experiencing poor propagation. All you got to do is go to websdr.org, and you'll have more information there. We have a discussion topic which we call the question of the evening at each roundtable. You are invited to participate as part of your check-in. Tonight's question of the evening will be announced shortly. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for future questions of the evening, please email them to mark@esedona.net. At the end of each roundtable, there's a Golden Cup Award that is given to a roundtable member who is singled out because of some outstandingly interesting, funny, informative comments made during their check-in. Before we begin, are there any announcements only of interest to vintage sideband radio topics? Can I get a relay on that?
K6LGL checking in. K6LGL.
Okay, I'll put, let me put Skip on the list. Skip, I cannot hear you. You're awful light this evening. But if you could hear me, I've got you on the list there. So there you have it. Okay. So now we'll be moving on here. I'm going to take a brief pause to see if anyone else would like to be put on the check-in list for tonight's Vintage Sideband Roundtable. Come now. Nothing heard. Okay. So, tonight's question of the evening is, do you use clip-on type RF connectors? It has been said they fail due to corrosion in an outside environment. What has been your experience? Now, I just want to briefly say that I've been using them for a number of years, inside and out. And I haven't seen this corrosion. So that's from my experience. I'm hoping somebody else could add to this, and but not hearsay. Back it up with empirical data, as we say. So, okay. Now listen, Dave, I should have told you, I've got you in I put you on the list at the top of the second grouping, okay? And I put Tom W6TOM on the first on top of the heap here, mainly because Tom wrote me an email saying that he has experience through work, first-hand experience with these things. So, and he asked if he could have just a little bit more than 2 minutes. So I decided to put Tom on the top of the list since he has the experience, and maybe we could learn something here. So let me read you the list as I have it. We're going to start off with Tom, W6TOM, then we're going to go to KK6IRZ, then W6DQ, and then over to Lisa, KF6QNG, and then Lisa, you'll pass it over to me. WJ6W will be next, K6ZTA, followed by N6KN, and then Rob, KE6HF. Rob, you'll turn it back to me. Then we have N6AF, W7MS, N6BZY, and K2RP. And Ron, send it back to me. And then we have Glenn, WB6RLC, followed by N6WHK, followed by N4DLA, and then Bob, WA9JIB. And Bob, you will send it back to me. Then we have K6RCL, followed by W6YEC, and then we have AK6R, and then we have W6WUH, and Larry, if you'll send it back to me there. And then on the last of the list, we have NI6Q Brian over to Skip, K6LGL, and we'll see if we get any others through the night. So there you have it. So let's start with the first four, W6TOM, followed by Jeff, KK6IRZ, followed by Dennis, W6DQ, followed by Lisa, KF6QNG. Go ahead and take it, Tom. W6TOM, K6ZSR for the Vintage Sideband Roundtable.
K6ZSR, W6TOM. Good evening, everybody. I'm on my Omni D tonight, and we'll get right into the discussion. Actually, when you're talking about crimp-on connectors, let me tell you a little bit about my background. I worked for the local utility company here before I retired. I maintained a lot of different types of radio systems. One of the things that you need to be concerned about is you need to bank the connector correctly to begin with. You need to have the proper tools and the directions on how to put the connector together. Intermittent connections are a real nightmare. I had a radio system that this went on for years. It would go off the air. It would take about an hour to get up to the hilltop under best circumstances. I'd get up there, be nothing wrong. Finally, we were doing some work, and we happened to find that they had connected the lightning arrestor, and we happened to poke the coax, and it fell out of the connector. It hadn't been put together correctly. In another case, I supported a data terminal system. A couple hundred vehicles. The system had been installed by contractors. They did not know how to go and put together TNC connectors. I basically replaced all those connectors over the next couple of years. So you got to make sure you put the connector together correctly before you even worry about waterproofing it. Now, in my case, what I would do for waterproofing is I would use a high-quality electrical tape. I would go and put a layer of that tape over the connector. And then I would do one of two things. I have some of this tape in front of me right now. It's made by Triple M. It's self-fusing silicon electrical tape number 70. I looked the stuff up on Amazon. I was a little bit surprised. It's about $60 for a 30-foot roll, which is kind of expensive. As an alternative, you can buy butyl tape, and you can apply that over the coating of electrical tape, and then put another coating of that electrical tape over the butyl or this self-fusing silicon tape, and then if you really want to be fancy, you could spray it with Krylon or something of that nature. The idea behind this is the first layer of electrical tape will make it easier for you to cut a slot down your seal on either side of the connector if you ever have to remove it. Like for instance, you've got to do some work on the antenna, you want to stick a SWR meter in there to go and check the match, etc., etc. So anyway, for what it's worth, that's my 2 cents, and let me hand it to KK6IRZ, W6TOM.
All right, very good. A lot of interesting stuff going on there, Tom, and very good advice all the way around. This is KK6IRZ. Jeff.
Get up with Denny telling him I say hello.
As Tom was discussing, everything boils down to the foundation. If you're using the proper tools, if you're doing it the proper way, then it's going to act the way that it was designed to act. And 90% of the time, if you put it on correctly, and the average amateur radio operator running 100 watts or, you know, even 1500 PP and all that type of thing, probably is not really going to have that big of an issue based on doing it the right way, as Tom was talking about. But for me personally, I have fixed way too many of them. And I kind of lean always to the more heavy engineering side of things, which is you get the proper connector, which is a solder connector, solder it together, do all that type of thing, but at the same time doing it correctly as it was designed to do. Also, other things are applications. You know, here I have a lot of equipment from AM. I have converted broadcast transmitters. I never know really what I'm going to be doing, or what I'm going to be running, or how much power there's going to be. So if I'm going to build something, I'm going to build it to deal with anything that I'm going to do into the future, without, of course, going crazy in cost and everything else. And the difference in cost between a crimp connector and a solder connector really is just the time it takes to do the, you know, to put it together, because they're relatively speaking basically the same cost, but you avoid so many things. Thermal cycling, for one thing, that's what creates those intermittent connections. You can, even with a proper crimp done correctly, the contact points are only where the crimp pushes against it. A solder is going to be full flowed all the way around everything. The temperature changes depending on if it's outside, inside, where you live in the country, and you know, so many factors. So generally speaking, at least for me and my philosophy is I'm going to build something that I know I'm not going to have to worry about later, and that means that I have to lean towards the soldered coaxes, connectors that I have always done and always will continue to do. But I also get crazy even with coaxes. I pretty much never use anything other than LMR 400, you know, and I don't use RG8s or any of that type of thing, or 214s. Or, so I have a tendency probably to be a little bit more cautious, or a little bit more, I want to do it once and be done type of guy, simply because I have fixed so many. I've been on mountaintops with broadcast stations where they've done it, and you know, the guys that do it, they think that they're getting it done right, and then 2 years down the road you have to go chase it, as Tom was saying. So foundation is everything, using the right tools, but also you got to use the right thing for the right purposes and for your philosophies in engineering. So I guess that's my point on it. Right at the moment, I am running a ICOM 735, which is a little bit outside of the window of 1980, I realize, but I am surrounded by everything that is at least 20 years older than that. And the ICOM 735 is the newest piece of equipment that I have in my whole equipment array. So hopefully you'll provide me a little bit of slack with that. But I will have to say, promoting the web SDR also falls way outside the earlier than 1980 category. Just as a note. And there you go. Guys, I hear a big crew in here, so I'm going to keep it going. I'm trying to move it through fast, but wanted to say hi, Skip, hi to Dennis and Mike, and oh my God, so many guys I haven't heard for a while as I've been rebuilding the station over here, which coincidentally required a lot of connector soldering. And I'm still not done yet because I have a whole lot of other equipment to hook up and switches and control circuits to still get done. But for now, back on the air after about 3.5 months. So I'm really happy that that's going on. And Dennis fired up your 813s there that I got from you. And just as a quickie test and check and filaments and that type of thing. They all look good when I got them, and they all seem to be fine when I'm testing them, so we'll see how it works when I put it in a rig somewhere. For now, over to you, W6DQ, and the very large group, but good to hear everybody. This is KK6IRZ.
Yeah, Dennis, can I take it for a moment? Okay, very good. Gentlemen, I have to reiterate, we need to keep our comments down to 2 minutes. This isn't a rag chew net here. This is that we were timed here. We've got over 25 people, and even at 2 minutes a person, plus the calling is over an hour. So please, I urge you to please keep your transmissions under 2 minutes. W6DQ in the group, K6ZSR.
Okay, Mike, thank you. K6ZSR and the Vintage Sideband Roundtable, W6DQ here, Denison in Kern, where we're currently running the KWM 380 with the Alpha 87 amplifier out to the 160-meter full-wave loop. And it seems to be working quite well tonight, so we're really pleased with that. And Jeff, good news on the 813s. I'm glad they lit up, and they should have been fine. So I don't see any problems there. But anyway, I'm not going to reiterate what others have said. I will say that I have literally installed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of crimp connectors and solder connectors of all different types, whether they're UHF connectors, PL259s, or N connectors, and I've done a lot of N connectors, both the crimp-ons and the compression type fittings. I've done a lot of stuff with heliacs, the Times microwave heliac stuff. Some of the big stuff, the large diameter stuff, and that always takes special tools to put that together. If you install it using the tools, like others have said, yeah, they're going to work fine. Mike, I've never had any experience with any corrosion in the connectors. Now, mind you, I'm in the high desert now, and so I wouldn't expect to see any corrosion out here. But even living down at the beach, I lived in Hermosa Beach, I lived in Long Beach, right by the ocean, never had any problems with those connectors. Had a lot of antennas outdoors. Antennas got corroded, but the connectors were fine. In fact, I'm still using some of those cables, believe it or not. But the interconnections here in the station, I've got literally dozens and dozens of little 3-foot connectors, or not connectors, but jumpers, that tie all the different rigs back to my switchboard, where I switch everything around between multiple antennas and multiple radios. And I started doing that with the solder PL259s, and it's just too much work. I've got all the tools to do the crimp-ons, and if you install them correctly, I use one of the tricks is to not only install it correctly, but when you're protecting it, there's it's almost like, I almost call it like a grease, but it's I know, I've got to finish up here. A lubricant that you put on the connector and then drop a piece of heat shrink over the top of that. And that allows you to install and deinstall the connector. And then I use the self-vulcanizing 3M tape like Tom was describing outside of that. And I've had some of that stuff up in the air for years. So I've never had any problems with those connectors, other than if they don't get crimped properly, they are not mechanically sound. And I have had a couple of them come apart because I miscrimped them. But I've never had any problems with corrosion and all of that. But like I say, hundreds and hundreds of these things, as well as for work. So this is all in the hobby, but yeah, we use a lot of crimp-on end connectors where when we worked on our battlefield radio systems. So literally thousands of them. So anyway, no problems there. So Mike, thanks for hosting tonight. It's a great question. It's very thought-provoking. And Dave, thank you for taking the early list. And want to wish everybody a happy New Year. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. And over to Lisa, KF6QNG, and the Vineyard Sideband Roundtable, W6DQ.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Mike, for taking the roundtable this evening. So, don't have an answer to the question, but just want to wish everyone a happy and healthy rest of the week. So, with that, I'm going to send it back to Mike. So, K6VSR from KF6QNG.
Okay, very good, Lisa. KF6QNG and the group from K6ZSR. And, okay, very good. You know, just one thing. Tom, thank you for on how you go about waterproofing, but I didn't hear you answer the question of you know, the crimp. Do you lean towards the crimps or the solder? Over.
Actually, if the connector is put together properly and it is properly weather sealed, you shouldn't have any problem. But the fact that it's not put together correctly is the thing that's going to cause you all kinds of grief. Over.
Okay, very good. And that, of course, that goes the same for the PL259 solder types too. If you're not soldering that shield correctly, you're still in for trouble. So, I mean, let's say all things being even, you're able to flow the solder around the shield, and you're able to, you have the right crimping tools, and more importantly, you know how to use them. But that's true. So we have crimp, solder, and crimp. So there you have it so far. I'm keeping score here, folks. So your answers matter. A while back, I talked to Mike, K6AER. I don't know if any of you know Mike. I used to talk to him quite regularly on 20 meters, and his company is strictly on mountaintops, two-way radios, relays, and all of that stuff. And that's all he said he used up there in Colorado was crimp. And he wrote an article in EHAM. I think it's still there. You might look it up. You know where they have those little essays. He wrote one, and that's actually why I started using them. Like I said, I'm over here in the what do you call it? I guess a corrosive environment next to the sea and all of that, and I've experienced no problem. I'm a crimp advocate. Okay. Now, on to the next four, and before we do, I think I'm going to take a real quick break. Let's see if I can get to the right page here, and see if there's any others that would like to be put on the list for the Vintage Sideband Roundtable. Come now.
WA6JUS.
K6JUS, we have you. Are there any others? Okay, nothing heard. Now we're moving on to WJ6W. Dave? Dave, turn it over to Vaughn, K6ZTA. Vaughn over to Rocco, N6KN. Rocco over to Rob, KE6HXF, and Rob, send it over to me, WJ6W. Go ahead and take it, Dave, K6ZSR.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. This is WJ6W, Dave in Tarzana. And the last check-in, Mike, was WA6JUS. WA6JUS, that's John in San Diego. Okay, we're running a KWM 230L1 tonight, and as far as the question, I've never used crimp here personally in the shack for any RF connectors, but I think they should be fine. I entertained getting a whole set of tools, but that was after years ago I had already built all the cables I needed for the shack, and looking to the future, only going to be onesie-twosie, so I just didn't figure it was proper or worth it getting the tools, and I wouldn't want to get anything but the proper tools, and they're not real cheap. But I do have one experience, professional experience to relay that demonstrates that it's very essential to crimp properly, and that is I worked for CBS for their Olympics coverage on 3 Olympics, and I believe it was the one in Norway. The video cables in the industry, the coaxial video cables use BNC connectors pretty much exclusively, and they're all crimp, of course. And I think it was in the Norway Olympics, a couple weeks before Olympics started, I was checking some things out in the master control room and moving some cables around in racks and just verifying wiring was correct, and I touched one cable and it fell out of the connector. And this was either the cable that was the primary feed back to New York, the main Olympics program feed, or the backup. I don't remember which it was. But that really shocked me. So obviously they had the right tools, but somebody didn't really do the crimp job properly on that one. So I had the entire chain, the entire main and backup broadcast chain checked for any other poor connections, and there weren't any. But that one kind of sent a shiver up my spine when you're talking about millions of dollars of programming material going through that stuff. Anyway, so crimp work very well in that industry, but it has to be done properly. So that's my comments, and I'll send it on to Vaughn. K6ZTA, go ahead, Vaughn, WJ6W.
Okay, Dave, thank you. Yeah, WJ6W, K6ZTA in Woodland Hills. Handle is Vaughn, Victor, Oscar, November. And we're using a 100V tonight, driving the SB220. And let's see, up to an inverted V at 55 feet. And the antenna tuner is the 2060 antenna tuner. And the microphone is the 10D, 10 Delta. Okay. I am a fan of the crimped ones that I buy. I don't try to crimp them myself. But I must say, nothing now, all my external coax is soldered. So I would hesitate, literally, to use crimp outside. I don't know, I'm just suspicious or just got a hex on it for me. So with that, I'll let it be that crimped is okay for interconnects in the shack, but I solder when I'm outside. So, and it's an arduous procedure, of course, but and I got it down to a science now, to where I can flow the solder properly and all that stuff. So. Okay, let's see. With that, let's turn over to Rocco, N6KN, K6ZTA.
Okay, Vaughn and everybody, this is Rocco N6KN in Rancho Palos Verdes, running the 32S3 and a 30L1, receiving on a 75A4. I think that crimp connectors can work just fine. A couple of comments that nobody's mentioned, but I will. Whenever I install any RF connector, I always perform some tests, some mechanical tests, and I'll do this while I'm monitoring for continuity or isolation, and I twist them to see if that thing will twist around, especially something on our piece of RG213, whether it is crimped or whether it's soldered. If it twists, you've got to start over. I pull on them and I flex them, and you can tell a good connector from a bad connector quite easily if you have a little experience. And the other thing is what everybody else has said. If you're going to do it outside, I tape them. I do have some crimp connectors that were professionally done on my stepper, and it works great. They're very reliable, but I have taped them very, very carefully here with all our salt air. All right, let's see. Rob, KE6HXF. I can't say it from 6KN. Go ahead, Rob.
K6HN. 6HXF here. Rig here is now the microphone detention. The rig is launched by a Charlie X-ray. There's a little story behind this rig. It comes from Claremont, and we brought it home in a garbage bag. It had a Anyway, we had to come home in a garbage bag. It had about a half an inch of rat poop on it. Everything all up and got it to work. Amplifier is a Swan Mark 2. Thing is clear. We've got the like kilowatt. Goes into a mobile line. I haven't had any experience with the crimp. I don't use them here. I pretty much solder everything. I don't use saying that using a soldering PL259. When you do your solder with your PL259, try on all 6 times where the 4 holes are, the 2 holes are solder. What we also do have solder spring. Now, you could kind of pick it up before you could take that. Go ahead.
Okay, very good, Rob, K6HF, K6ZSR. Okay, very good. So, let's see, what have we got? Hey, Rocco, did you say you're crimping there in your environment there, over? Rocco? I missed whether he's using crimp or not. He did say crimp is okay. And Vaughn is 50-50, okay, inside, but not out. And Dave, where do you lie? Are you for crimps or what?
Well, if I was starting over from scratch, I would get the tools and do crimp, I think.
Okay, very good. And so we got you down there for a crimper. Yeah, you're a crimper. Okay, all right. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go on to the next floor, starting with N6AF. That's Chuck. Chuck, over to Mike, W7MS. W7MS, turn it over to Paul, N6BZY. And Paul, turn it over to Ron, K2RP, and then Ron over to me. So go ahead and take it, Chuck, N6AF. And I'd like to remind everybody, 2 minutes or less, please. N6AF in the group, K6ZSR.
All right, thanks. November 6 Alpha Fox from the Atlas 210X, driving a solid state amp. I'm sending a dipole that segues right into the answer. All my outdoor connections are soldered. Even the Ballon connection to the 2 wires of my currently in use offcenter bed dipole are let's say mechanically connected well and then heavily soldered. I don't rely on the solder, of course, for mechanical strength, for conductivity. But you kind of took me back in down memory lane a little bit. And I remember back in the early 70s as a novice, even then I would drag a soldering iron up on my parents' rooftop on a long extension cord to do soldering, and probably even did that in the rain, but we will never admit it. And I think there might have been a time when I thought, you know, this is too much trouble to go get the extension cord, I'll just plug in this 250-watt iron in my bedroom ham shack and let it get toasty hot. You know the kind you can weld your Chevy bumper with? And then I jumped out my bedroom window and scrambled up the ladder and got up on the roof and was able to put an extension on one leg of my dipole, inverted V. So the answer is no crimps. We're solder only, and I survived the runs up and down the ladder in those early years. Okay, over to W7MS, November 6th, Alpha Pop.
Okay, well, thank you, Chuck. N6AF and the Vintage Sideband Roundtable, W7MS, Mike and Reno. And this evening, run the Cubic Astro 103, and that's driving a Kenwood TL922A amplifier, microphones at 444, sure, to a coax-fed dipole. So to the question of the evening, I guess the answer is yes, I'm a crimper. And a lot of issues have already been covered, self-sealing healing tape. I would also mention vapor seal if it hasn't been mentioned already, and also maybe marine shrink tubing with the internal adhesive for waterproofing. But big fan of crimps, use them here. I think it's much easier and generally yields much better reliability results. And I must say, way back about 32 years ago, I had to think about this. I attended a connectorization school. I worked for a company called MCI. And, of course, as Dave and others have mentioned, catastrophic issues with connectorization issues. And I was mandated as a field engineer to attend a class at Rockwell Collins held by the ladies that worked on the assembly line doing connectors for a living, and that was interesting. So I was officially certified as a connectorization expert. So not to claim that I'm anywhere a connectorization expert. That was a long time ago in a different lifetime, but it was a rather interesting experience, and I suddenly became a QC connector checker guy. And it's always a little disquieting to pull on that coax cable, as David mentioned, and have it part from the connector. It's especially when it's vital for revenue generation. So with that, hopefully I haven't burnt beyond 2 minutes, but over to Paul, N6BZY, W7MS.
Are you there, Paul? W6 or N6BZY in the group, K6ZSR. Okay, Ron, K2RP, go ahead and take it. And by the way, thank you so much for that T-shirt. It's a crack-up. I got a big kick out of it. Angie got a big kick out of it there, Ron. Thank you. K2RP in the group, K6ZSR. Oh, gosh, Ron isn't there. Okay, we're going to swing back on these guys, and we will revisit. Okay, and so Chuck N6AF is a solder guy, and I'll tell you, the things we do when we're young, right? Up on the roof with, oh my goodness, with a Weller soldering iron, that's something. That's bravery, but only things that we do when we're young, that's for sure. And thanks, Mike, you're a crimper. And, of course, Paul was not there, and also Ron wasn't there. So we'll swing back on these fellows. And now over to Glenn, WB6RLC. And Glenn, you'll turn it over to Phil, N6WHK. Phil, over to Matthew, K4DLA. And then over to Bob, WA9JIB. So, Glenn, go ahead and take it. WB6RLC on the Vintage Sideband Roundtable, K6ZSR.
All right, very good. K6ZSR, WB6RLC. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, hearing most everyone well, except for, Ron. But anyway, Glenn here, Cathedral City, next burg over from Palm Springs. Rig tonight's the Swan 500.
No suffix, single year of manufacture only. Sure 444 mic up to an off-center fed dipole at 32 feet. So yeah, well, the one good thing about crimping connectors is that you don't have to run an extension cord up your tower. You know what I mean? But other than that, personally at home I solder, only because that's what I've always done. So you know, I haven't got the tools, and not like I can't afford them, but I've always soldered all of my RF connectors here in the shack. That being said, I worked in aerospace for about 40 years, and I worked for Rockwell Collins, and my last company was Parker Hannifin, which makes flight controls for about everything that flies. And yeah, I am a certified connector crimper. I have certs for that and certs for soldering and all of that kind of stuff. But let me tell you, just offhand, about everything that flies has got crimp connectors. Not necessarily RF. I don't have a lot of RF experience in aerospace, but when we're making on missiles, I've worked on the Peacekeeper, you know, all of that stuff. All of those crimpers all those connectors are crimped. And everything that flies in the military and aerospace and stuff is crimped. So there must be a good reason for it. So, you know, that's about all I can say. Anyway, so Phil's coming over your direction. Wake up. N6, Whiskey Hotel Kilo, WB6RLC in the group.
WB6RLT and 6WHK. Well, thank you for picking me up. I'm running the Swan 350 Delta here to an off-center dipole, homebrew type, and running about 300 watts of power. I've always soldered connected, made mine, but I've been using more and more crimp, because I've been buying coaxes that already has crimps on them, and I haven't had any problem with them as of yet. I'm kind of leery because I'm used to being soldering everything. I have one bad coax up on my tower, which I was not able to get up there, and some other guys put it on for me, and it was faulty. So I think we put a crimp on that one. Anyway, I guess it's 50-50. K4DLA, over to you, sir. And 6WHK.
K2RP back.
Okay, thanks, Bill. N6WAK.
Okay, Ron.
Roundtable Med, this is Matthew at 4DLA. And Happy New Year to all everybody out the air tonight. Using Atlas 210X. Sure 444 microphone, about 100 watts into 75-meter dipole, up about 60 feet. And my own experience with crimp connectors, I didn't know I had any until I lost my amateur television repeater receive signal, which is on 1.2 gigahertz. And it's using a small Yagi that came with a pigtail with a Type N female connector on it. I bought from a silent key. So I wonder why I didn't have any amateur television receive or digital amateur television receive on the Mount Diablo repeater. I went and looked at the antenna, which is up at the top of a sheared up bay tree, and the coax was hanging in midair while the connector was still connected to the antenna. So it had been made offshore, it was bought online, and evidently the crimp connector only lasted about 9 years while I was up there. So I climbed up. This is the 1.2 gig Yagi. It's not very big, I could bring it down and solder on a replacement connector and get rid of that thing. So it was a bad actor in my neighborhood. Like everybody says, if it's put on properly, then you're not going to have any problem with it. Plus, an accessory adhesive to spices or materials is recommended. And I've got this done under 2 minutes. Let's give it over to my fellow rail fan Bob, W89JIB. This is N4DLA with again, Happy New Year, everyone. Okay, N4DLA and the group, it's WA9JIB. Bob here in rainy La Cañada. Yeah, it is raining out there. A little drizzle this afternoon. It's coming down a little stronger now, so I guess we're going to get a good soaking here, which is great. Let's see, is the name Bob, Bravo Oscar Bravo, location La Cañada. The rig starts with a Kenwood MC50 microphone. Into my station I got from Rocco, the Helicrafters HT32B for Bob. Paired with the SX115 receiver, R48 speaker. Go through a tuner that I got from K2RP. The antenna is a dipole that's hanging off a 35-foot mast, inverted V. On to the question. So the JIB shack is a crimp-free zone, at least as I think I know it. So I probably have had a couple of cables that I've gotten, you know, in boxes at Hamfests and things with crimps on them. That's one reason I'm a crimp-free zone is I've touched those things and had them fall off. So I'm not too thrilled with it. So the way I would conjugate the verb to crimp would be, I have not crimped, I am not now crimping, and I have no plans to crimp in the immediate future. But that said, I have nothing really against crimping. You know, the day may come when I do it. I use all SO239s, outside, inside. The only radio I think I have that has BNCs is my 78.84, and I just use an adapter there. So, and I do have some test equipment with BNCs. Then I might have a cable or two, a patch cord or two that's got crimps on the end, and I don't know of it. But basically for JIB, I've been soldering since the 1960s. Works for me. I'm not going to say anything negative about crimping, but I'm not motivated to change my evil ways, because what I've done over all these years works for me. So with that, I will turn it back to you, Mike. K6ZSR WA9JIB, and put me down for a solder dude.
Okay. All right, Bob. WA9JIB and the group K6ZSR. Okay. And Matthew, can you tell me, are you a crimper or a solder guy? Over. Bob, can you relay that for me?
He's pretty weak. Try it again, Matthew. It's definitely soldered. N4DLA, definitely soldered. I couldn't get it. He's a little off frequency, and I'm sorry, Mike, I just can't get it.
Did you say solder, over?
Yeah, Roger. I had a bad experience with a crimp connector, so I soldered it to replace it.
Okay, very good. He did say solder. You're just a little light there, Matthew. Sorry, you've been going in and out of the noise there. But anyway, there you have it. We're going to swing back, and we're going to pick up Ron, K2RP. And Ron, I mentioned last time, thank you for that T-shirt. That was funny. Ron sent me a T-shirt that says you have a PhD in ham radio, and the PhD stands for Project Half Done. Well, you got me pegged completely there, Ron. K2RP and the group K6ZSR.
Okay. I'm glad you liked it, Mike. I knew you would. I got one for John as well. Let's see. I'm not going to use up my whole 2 minutes, but first of all, that was me getting no output. Apparently my grid on the cyclone, and I had this once before where for some reason the pre-selector, which is also the driver, just went out of adjustment. Now it seems to be okay again. But I've never tried the crimp ones. I have a few jumpers, coax jumpers. I have dozens of them because of all my equipment, and some of those have crimped edges, but they've never been outside, and I've never noticed any difference. So The technical position that I have on crimps versus solder is, I don't know. Have a good week. Happy New Year, everybody. K6ZSR, K2RP.
Okay, so are you a crimper?
I have no idea. I haven't really tried them.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good. And, okay, so thanks, Ron. And now we're going to move along to the next, let's see, where are we? Okay, we're going to go to DJ, who may or may not be there because he was having some kind of mic problems there. So DJ, send it over to George. And by the way, George, you might make a comment. I heard you on AM on 40 meters today. And I think you were talking to a K7RW. I've never seen him check in yet on his QRZ page. He's got a ton of vintage equipment. And it sounds like he's really technical minded. So I just wanted to bring that up, and maybe you can encourage him to join us. Anyway, George, send it over to Bob, AK6R, and Bob over to Larry, W6WUH, and Larry back to me, okay? So over to you, DJ, K6RCL, and the group K6ZSR.
Okay, K6ZSR, K6RCL. I don't know if I'm working too well or not, but yeah, we got a little RF problem here. So I won't hold it, but I will say this, I am a crimper. And I'm holding it under 1 minute. W6YEC, K6RCL.
Okay, DJ, very good. K6RCL, the crimper. W6YEC. Right back, okay. Well, listen, I guess you just have to say I'm a solder guy. I'm not against crimping. And I'm sure I've got some crimp patch cords around here. So that's the way they came. But I don't have the tools and just have never thought about it, actually. So thanks for the question. Causes me to give a little attention to that. Don't know that I'll change my ways, but who knows? I might get inspired. All right. Listen, running the TS520 sugar tonight. And it is working beautiful, listening to everybody. Some signals down a little bit, but most of them big signals. Mike, your big signals tonight, 30 over. And we're using the 30L1 for an amplifier, about 700 watts, M250 mic. So that's the rundown. And to your question, Mike, that's Clark. He changed his call, W7WRX. And he's an auto guy, and there's some call I forget now. It has something to do with the model, particular automobile he works on, I think. And the problem he has on getting on AM is that he runs the big signal there, and he wipes out the Texans, and then when he gets on, the Texans give him all kinds of trouble. So he's not been on the net. But too often he has checked in. I heard him Monday, so we did, encourage him. But that was his situation. Is they get pretty shook up because he's over there in Arizona. But he was on a 20V today, so sounded beautiful. And talking to Jeff, who checked in here tonight, getting back on the air. So that's the story on that, and let's see if we can send this along to my friend Bob, and see how he's hearing everybody up there. Not too strong tonight, Bob. I'm not too strong to you, just conditions, but the further stations are pretty loud. AK6R to take it away, W6YEC.
Yeah, W6YEC in the group AK6R. Very good, George. And not quite as strong tonight, but Mike is killing it. He's about 20 over tonight. Just a absolutely beautiful signal. And thanks for taking the net tonight, Mike. For Dave for taking the early. Same here as Bob. We're in Fallbrook, just north of San Diego, about 30 miles. And tonight we're running the Cantronics AT180. Putting putting out about 30 watts going into my flex linear amplifier, which is putting out about 1,272 watts right now as I look at it, going into a loop antenna on the back 40 here. So it's a rundown on the equipment. And I don't think we've heard this question before, Mike, so it's a good one. And a couple other things. So I'm going to have a shout out to my friend Sandy, WB6BYE up in Acton, who's listening tonight, but couldn't get on because of his 80-meter antenna's got he lost part of it. It's a little rainy here. But, okay, on to the question. Am I a crimper? And the answer is absolutely yes. And I'm a crimper in a couple ways. I do crimp my coax connectors together, for sure. But I also do all my antenna extensions. If I have to add 5 feet or 10 feet or 20 feet to an antenna wire, I first tie the 2 wires into a square knot, and then I take a 1/4 inch off and I put regular crimps on that and just crimp it and leave it as is. I don't even worry about water or anything else. But a real easy way to extend antennas if you got to put a lot of footage on it. So I do that all the time, and it works out very well. And by the way, one of the hints that I came across was when you're putting 2 pieces of coax together with a double female barrel connector, quite often it will leak, particularly if it's outside. So I go down to Home Depot and they have these cable protectors. They look like big clamshells. They're about 6 inches long, and they're waterproof, and they basically are used for extension cords and stuff, but you know what? They work absolutely great on coax connectors between 2 long pieces of coax. So I use them all over the place. They're very light. You can let them hang in the air or just lay on the ground. Anyway, that's my 2 cents for tonight. Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll catch you in the new year. Over to Larry, W6WUH, to take it. Up in Northern California, where I hope you're getting some rain, Larry. This is a K6R.
Larry, are you there? Okay, nothing heard. Over to NI6Q. And Brian, when you're finished, over to Skip, K6LGL. And then Skip over to WA6JUS. And WA6JUS over to me. So go ahead and take it, Brian. NI6Q in the group, K6ZSR.
Yes, okay, thank you, Mike. K6ZSR in the group. This is NI6Q. Brian here in Flagstaff. We're starting to snow and very high winds here, and temperature is kind of mild, but it will plummet during the night. So there we go. I'm on the 75A4 tonight as the receiver, and the transmitter is a Aldico Military 100 model, SSB 100 military version, with a 30S1 linear. There you go. So weather is getting to be quite terrible, I guess, over the next few hours here. And this is the reason why I do not have connectors that are outside. Basically, I use only wire antennas in the last, maybe 20, 30 years now. There's no connectors of any kind outside. There's no need for that. When it comes to the interior, inside, crimping or not, it doesn't matter really. Everything works. Frankly, I have more problems with defective adapters, coax adapters. Some of the cheap kind, Chinese or else are loose or making bad connection or sold out or no connection. That's the favorite mode. Mode is no connection, and I have more problems with those than anything else. So I would be a crimper if I crimped, but I'm pretty much, buying cables because I just need the cables between tuner and the different machines that I'm using. So there you go. With that, all the best. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everything is going to be fine, especially the health department, and we'll see what 2023 has for us in store. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Skipper. Thank you, Mike, for hosting tonight, and Dave also for taking the earlies. And this is an I-6Q. Over to Skip in Santa Monica, an I-6Q.
Okay, Brian. I just wanted to check with Mike. Mike, are you copying me, K6LGL?
Yes, I am, Skip. Over.
Okay, thank you very much. K6LGL in Santa Monica, I'm on my 902. Then so on. I guess I would be classed more in the solder class. And the reason for it is that for years I operated above 6 meters. And I acquired quite a bit, being an aerospace engineer, quite a bit of non-standard coaxial cable, but military grade with double shielded silver braid connectors, outside shields. And there was nothing made for that that was available readily to crimp, so it had to be soldered. And the one couple of things I did, living near the ocean most of the time, is required. I used non-contaminating RTV, which is, silicone rubber as a sealant. And then on top of that, about 25 or close to 30 years ago, there were a couple of companies that were producing a heat shrink tubing that had a moisture seal in there with a soft sort of gel-like material. And I put that on the outside. And that's like wrapping it with special tape. So never had any problem with weather failure, even here in Santa Monica, due to, moisture resistance. But when you use RTV, it has to be free of acetic acid, because that is a known contaminant and a known corrosive acid. So I soldered most of my connectors. And because simply I use a lot of Teflon coax around the house, and with the exception of Sun's wiring cable, the LMR series, and most of them I ordered already, pre-crimped, and just simply added my own moisture seals that. So that's the story on that. And I think it goes over to WA6JUS. Happy New Year to all. Good to hear you all on. Thank you for doing the network, and also Bob taking the earlies. So, WA6JUS. I guess you're next. Hope you're copying me there, John. K6 Little Green Light. Good evening to all.
K6 Little Green Light from WA6JUS. Thank you, Skip. WA6JUS here. The last non-wire antenna I put up was the cubicle quad on the boys' dorm at Biola College in '69. We soldered everything. It's been wire antennas since. The crimp connectors, I just use them. I don't have the tools. Anyway, no else to say besides that. I'll just send it back to Net. This is WA6JUS.
Okay, very good, John. W6JUS and the group from K6ZSR. And, okay, very, very good. Well, I've tallied everything up here, and there's 9 crimpers, 7 solderers. I guess that's how you would say, right? Solderers. So it's 9 to 7 crimpers over solderers, and there's one that's 50-50. He'll crimp on the inside, but on the outside, well, he's going to go solder. And surprisingly enough, those that are using them commercially and those that are using connectors in the military have chosen crimp. And that's been my experience. Like I said, the fellow that started me out, Mike, K6AER, he's a mountain topper. For those that you are soldering in, and also the crimpers, you might look up his article in eham.net. That being said, I just took down a 20-year-old step IR that I crimped over 20 years ago, and it wasn't the connector that was causing my problems up there, but the connector was in good shape. But what I do here is I shrink tube the shield end of it. In other words, the cable end of it, I shrink tube it. And then I coax seal over that really well. And I mean, I really ply it into the connector and do a good seal. And then over that, I put 3M electrical sealing tape. But I do it with the sticky side out. So I wrap it onto itself. So now the sticky side is showing for one turn. And then, and the reason why is if I ever have to cut it off, it doesn't stick to that coax seal there. It just cuts real clean. And then over that, I apply another sealing tape, 3M over that. So I get a pretty good bond. But like everybody said, if you're going to crimp, you have to have the right tool and you have to have the knowledge to do it right. Well, anyway, that was interesting. And I was thinking that when we started, there wasn't going to be that many crimpers, but I was wrong. So anyway, everybody, let's see. I guess I'm going to wish everybody a Happy New Year. I guess, right? It'll be New Year's on the next one, maybe. What is it, January 3rd or something like that? So let's start. I don't know what year this. What are we into? Our 13th year or 14th year next year? So that's a pretty good deal. And I'd like to award the Golden Cup to Tom, W6TOM, for his little thesis there on what he does when he was working commercially. Go ahead and would you like to say something, Tom? K6ZSR. Tom left the building, so I will send him an email and that'll be it. Okay, everybody, so 70 degrees, it's been a lot of fun. This is one of our longest or largest gathering here that I could remember there. Let me just count them here quickly. Let me just see. I'm just curious because, let me see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and add 2 more for 22. Add myself is 23, and then there were 2 that didn't make it to the check-in. So this is a pretty good crowd. Yep, pretty good crowd. So Happy New Year, everybody, and look forward to talking to you next year. Okay, 6ZSR for the Vintage Sideband Roundtable.